You know that moment when your entire world flips upside down? When the person you trusted most betrays you in the worst possible way? I lived through that moment, and what happened next changed everything. My name is Raymond, and I'm 37 years old. I came home early from a security job overseas and found my wife Angela in bed with another man, a personal trainer named Damian Whitmore. That discovery lit a fire inside me, transforming me from a trusting husband into someone who would stop at nothing to ensure justice was served. What followed was a series of calculated legal actions and personal confrontations that neither of them saw coming. For 15 years, I'd been traveling for work, building my security consulting business from the ground up after leaving the Navy. I protected corporate executives in hostile environments, and I was good at my job. This last trip was to Somalia. It was high stakes, but it went smoothly, so I wrapped things up and flew home 3 days early, wanting to surprise my wife. I walked through my own front door at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, feeling that familiar sense of relief you get after a long trip. But something was off. The house was too quiet. The bedroom door, which was always open, was closed. A knot of dread formed in my stomach. I pushed it open, and there they were. My wife, Angela, in our bed with another man. My training kicked in. Stay calm, assess the situation. The man, Damian, scrambled up, trying to act tough, pulling his pants on. I just looked at him, my voice steady, and said, "Get dressed. We're going to talk." But Damian made one critical, life-altering mistake. Instead of talking, he pulled a Glock 19 from his pants and pointed it at me. His hands were shaking so badly, I could tell he'd probably never fired a gun in his life. He was just a scared kid trying to play a tough guy. Pointing a gun at a former Navy SEAL? Bad move. I disarmed him in seconds. The whole thing was over before he could even process what happened. I cleared the chamber, made the weapon safe, and set it aside. That gun just became my Exhibit A. Damian, now completely terrified, scrambled out of the house in just his underwear and vanished down the street. Angela started crying, trying to explain. The affair had been going on for 6 months, she said. She tried to blame it on me, on my traveling, on her loneliness. I cut her off. I told her, "You made your choices, Angela. Now you have to live with the consequences." The love I had for her had evaporated in that instant, replaced by a cold, hard resolve. My first call was to my lawyer, Steve Harrison. My second was to the police. Then I called Clark Anderson, a private investigator I'd worked with before. I needed him to dig into everything: phone records, financial statements, emails. I wanted the full picture of their deception. That same afternoon, I filed a police report and got an emergency restraining order against Damian. The next day, Steve filed for divorce. The initial findings from Clark were staggering. Angela had spent over $40,000 of our joint savings on lavish trips with Damian. Another $20,000 went towards jewelry for him and a down payment on a lease for a gym they were planning to open together. They weren't just having an affair. They were building a new life with my money. And the worst part? Clark found emails where they discussed her plan to divorce me after the gym was established, intending to take half of everything I had worked my entire life for. With this evidence, we amended the divorce filing. We weren't just claiming adultery anymore. We were claiming fraud. I wasn't asking for half. I was asking for a massively disproportionate share of our assets. Angela, predictably, refused to cooperate with the police investigation against Damian. She chose him. She moved in with her sister Diane and lawyered up, ready for a fight. She had no idea what was coming. The criminal trial against Damian for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon began first. It was a straightforward case. The prosecutor, Mary Ann Taylor, was sharp and methodical. I took the stand and calmly recounted the events of that afternoon, coming home, the shock, and the moment Damian pointed that loaded gun at me. Then Damian took the stand. His lawyer probably thought it would make him look sympathetic. He admitted everything, but claimed he was just scared. He thought I was going to hurt him. The jury didn't buy it. They were out for just 90 minutes before coming back with a guilty verdict. Next came the divorce hearing. By now we had a mountain of financial evidence. The judge was not impressed with Angela's spending habits or her deceit. When the verdict came down, it was brutal. The judge awarded me 90% of our marital property. He ordered Angela to reimburse me for every single dollar she'd spent on Damian. She walked away with an old car we owned and just enough cash to rent a cheap apartment on the other side of town. The life she had planned was gone. But they weren't done. Damian and Angela decided to appeal his conviction. Their new strategy? claimed jury misconduct and ineffective legal counsel. It was a desperate, flimsy argument. To make matters worse, Angela filed a false police report against me, claiming I had threatened her. It was a pathetic attempt to pressure me. This is where they really sealed their fate. My investigator Clark was still monitoring them. He uncovered a series of text messages and emails between Angela, Damien, and his new lawyer, Nicholas Green. The messages laid out their entire appeal strategy, including the plan for Angela to file the false police report. They had been plotting this for months, even before Damien's trial had ended. We took this new evidence straight to the judge. The prosecutor, Marianne, Steve, and I sat in the courtroom as the judge read the messages. The look on his face went from professional curiosity to pure anger. He immediately denied the motion for a new trial. Then, he held Angela and Damien in contempt of court for attempting to defraud the justice system. Damien's lawyer, Nicholas Green, was reported to the state bar for his part in the scheme. The sentencing was a spectacle. Damien was sentenced to 7 years in prison for the assault. The judge then added 2 more years for attempting to corrupt the judicial system. 9 years. Nicholas Green, the lawyer, eventually lost his license to practice law. And Angela? She was fined $15,000 and ordered to pay all of my legal fees for the appeal. A few days later, Angela called me. She was crying, apologizing, saying she had lost everything. Her voice was broken, but I felt nothing. No pity, no anger, just a quiet finality. I told her, "You chose your path, Angela. You have to live with it," and then I hung up. 6 months after it was all over, I sold the house. The memories were too toxic. I bought a beautiful piece of property out in the Texas Hill Country and built a new home. My business, ironically, flourished. With the drama behind me, I could focus, and my company's revenue doubled in a year. Life started to feel good again. At a VA fundraiser, I met a woman named Leslie Robinson. She's a physician's assistant, smart, kind, and funny. We're taking things slow, building a new relationship founded on the honesty and respect I never truly had with Angela. Every now and then, Clark gives me an update. Damien is having a hard time in prison. Angela is working a low-paying retail job, living in a tiny apartment, buried in debt. I don't feel guilt or satisfaction, just a sense of closure. They made their choices, and they are living with the consequences. Sometimes the worst moments of your life are actually doorways. Angela's betrayal didn't destroy me. It freed me. It cleared away the lies and allowed me to build something real, something better from the ashes. I have a successful business, a peaceful home, and a real chance at a healthy, loving relationship. I survived, and I thrived. Thanks for watching.